Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment in the Quickview series. Today, another bunch of plastic pieced together by those purveyors of the pretty pass known as FMS for the algorithm. Unboxing. We're going to unbox it, and then we're going to unbox it again. FCX10 Land Rover Range Rover RS Yellow. It's all good. It's dandy, and it's fine. I have a bizarre, semi-abusive relationship with FMS. One of my favorite vehicles that exists is made by FMS. Their FJ40, which over time is basically leaf springs, rails, and body, and no other FMS left. So I have two FJ40s built here that have to be close to $1,000 each, if not more. And it's ridiculous, and I acknowledge it. That they get you. They pretty pass you real hard. Because one of the first, if not the first, FMS vehicle that I drove in any capacity was the 1941 Willys, which is, in the terms of a rock crawler, catastrophically bad. It is largely incapable of doing anything. It's the exact same platform underneath that is the Atlas, the FJ40, the Michigan, the 1/6, the Jimny. They're all the same underneath. And they're like, the running gear is bad, but they pretty pass their way directly into your heart. As Janine Garofalo once said that there is no debate. Sporty Spice is the best of the spices because she may not sing the best and she might not be the best dancer, but she will do a backflip right into your heart. And that is very similar to what FMS vehicles do, because as we get ready to unbox the second box, this is the new in the FCX10s, the Camel Trophy edition vehicles. Double unboxing. Look at that, Camel Trophy edition. It's almost as if I read it in advance. And Huck. So the Camel Trophy edition available in 3 iterations. D110, that's the one over here. And then these two guys right here. And this one is this guy right here. Do you see what I mean about the pretty pass? Like, we're going to say wildly, conflictingly contradictory things about this vehicle. Because I have now tested the Willys, the FJ, the FCX10 Blazer, the FCX10 LC80, and now we are testing the FCX10 Land Rover 1/10 Range Rover Camel Trophy. I have to assume, not having pulled the box apart, that this thing is going to pretty pass its way. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. But underneath are going to be things. Underneath are going to be things that are a genuine problem. Oh man, I don't know if you're ready. Like, it really depends on what you're into. But you got rock crawling over here. You got hardcore rock crawling. And then you got trailing over here, which is going out and driving in the forest and the woods. And then you've got scaling, which is lunatic stuff, right? The driver's holding a cigarette and smoke's coming off the end of it. This is definitely nestling itself somewhere between trailer and scaler. I don't think that this thing is going to have much in the way of ability to crawl rocks. I just don't, because this is based off of the FCX10 platform. But worser, this is the straight axle FCX10, and we have some select things to say about the straight axle FCX10. primary among which is the axles are, for lack of a more descriptive term, stupidiotic. The front axle is definitely classifies for the definition of frangible. They are designed to come apart into pieces. That front axle could basically be a claymore mine designed to explode. Oh, we have a whole, oh, see? This is what they do. This is what they do. Inside the little bag, you get your 4 jerry cans to go in the jerry can holders on the roof. You've got all the Camel Trophy decals. You've got, does the guy not have his hat on? The guy doesn't have a hat. Oof. You could do a whole episode with how much work is required just to get that guy's Camel Trophy hat on. There are the limb risers. Yes, there are the limb risers. I will be installing none of this. This vehicle is here on a, what do they call that thing where you have to transfer planes? Layover? This thing is here on a layover. It is going off to a forever home that is not this one, because upon finding out it is the same FMS turn to eject body mount, which works to varying degrees of success. Lighting module. So the front's wired up. It's got indicators. There's apparently a way. There's a little trick to turn off the indicators. They have done. I said this in the first time I reviewed an FCX10 when I reviewed the Blazer. I said that this is not. Don't get it twisted. This is not a TRX4. But it kind of also is. But it's not. But at the same time, if you know what I'm saying, this is an updated interpretation of a TRX4. As, I mean, just look at the axle and the drive shaft. I mean, it's a TRX4. This one has been converted to straight axle. You can see where they deleted the portal boxes in the rear. And then in the front, oh, it looks like they have updated this guy. So maybe they fixed their issue. And not even messing around. We have all of this delicious scale goodness, right? Camel Trophy 81. This is a Lexan body, so you're not getting slammed with all of the weight that you would where this is a full hard body. Fully lit. Look at the sunroof action working. That guy is looking pretty stern and lantern jawed in there. And then at the same time, they're like, we understand that we fit this with electronics that are meh. We've gone to a 2-in-1 in this one. Well, there's a 2-in-1 in a lot of them. Got a 2-in-1 in there, and then it's all wired up to run to the lighting module, and you don't have to bother disconnecting anything because it attaches via magnets. They may have fixed the front axle. The thing that would stop me from buying one of these for myself is those front axles. The front axle on the straight axle LCX80, the FCX10 LC80, is self-destructible. This is also one that has to go into knowing this is a vehicle for a remarkably specific purpose. One should not, under any circumstance, get into some sort of ill-fated process attempting to transform this into some sort of killer machine. Wanted to see how these come off. This part threads onto the stub. Pull a wheel off, see how little these are. Plastic wheels glued on. No! Plastic wheels bead locked. That really looked like it was glued on. I was definitely curious about this. The Super Marsher, which has been featured on a couple others. This Super Marsher is basically a Class 1. Like, rightfully close. 110. So we are just a hair. It's passable. Look at how close the wheel hex looks to TRX4 now. Oy. Oh, they just jumped ahead and we just went vertical servo on the axle. We know the electronics are crap, so we're going to get you that steering angle anyway just by mounting the servo there and leaving a big hole for the servo to pass up through. It's the usual FMS Power Dash 32 turn 550 motor. You know, this ain't bad. This ain't bad. And there are, if you want to put alloys on here, there's a lot of options for that, and you don't have to unbake the tires. And you know what? They feel okay. This is something that you're not, like, performance should not be your number one concern if you're purchasing anything from FMS. Think of them as a, I don't know, cheaper, less sophisticated cross. There's a lot less to put into it. They don't sell a single kit. That front bumper is massive and flimmy. A little bit on the flimmy side. Full inner fenders. There's little things that it doesn't have that I wish it did, like some sort of provision for rock lights. This is a thing that really calls for rock lights. It's not a TRX4, but, you know, it kind of is. Everything here in the fleet is 3S. This is, we're over, because we're past halfway, we're over a quarter of the way into the 21st century. There's no excuse to run 2S in a crawler. Like, that jump from 2S to 3S is enormous. It is 50% more voltage. At no point in the jump, unless you're talking about 1S pan cars. Anyway, in terms of stuff like this, when you're going from 2S to 3S is the biggest jump you ever make. Every jump after that is half as big. Is half as big again. From 3S to 4S is 33%. 5S isn't a thing. It kind of is, but it isn't. So 3S, because of the amount of density, amount of energy density, this battery, which is an LIHV 4200 3S, would probably run this vehicle on its stock electronics for 6-7 miles. And the performance of this vehicle is definitely one that you should regard in terms of miles and not in terms of how does it slay a line. You can get up a line a ways, but the way I regard these vehicles, ooh. So I think, you know what? It lacks the initial low end of most RTR brushed systems, but no. Boop. But honestly, it doesn't feel too bad. Wow! I mean, I've seen some shiny mirror decals before, but that's dang near a mirror on there. Oh, look at that. And now we'll see. We've had problems with with these products before. They can't come to a conclusion as to how they want to adhere, as to how they want to mount the body down. And this is no exception. Open is this way. Press down on the lock. And did it go? It did, but now all the lights are off. They were on a minute ago. Oh! Okay. Somebody said... Okay, that is indeed a 2-speed. Channel 4 is... Somebody said something about holding channel 4 to turn off the blinkers. I'm not a big blinker guy, as we tend to be turning kind of a lot. Basically, what they did when they took the FCX10 Blazer and they made the non-pro when they made the non-pro LC80 out of it, they effectively straight axled a TRX4 because they made no changes to the gearbox and then they put straight axles on it. And a TRX4, which this isn't, but also kind of is, relies on the portal axles for most of the gear reduction. So here you would have an 830 front axle, so 3.75 to 1. And a TRX4 axle is 7.9 to 1. So it's over double. So when you remove that portal axle and you put a straight axle on there, you cut your gear reduction in half. That's low. Oh, that's low. It's nice and quiet, but it's going to be really fast on 3S. It is almost as if here, towards the past the quarter-way mark into the 21st century, they've designed a vehicle that is basically explicitly for 2S. They want a big 6500 2S hard case in the middle of that, and then you'll probably be fine. I run 3S in my trail rigs, I run 3S in my rock crawlers, I run 3S in everything. I have to listen to her, and I gotta let that go. I gotta let it go, because you might be absolutely fine with 2S. And if you're running this on 2S, you will probably be okay, provided that these are indeed fixed. Well, these electronics do not make a lot of noise. They get you with the Pretty Pass. This thing has a real list to one side. It is sprung extraordinarily softly. We're doing double springs, and they're in line with each other. You know what? That feels okay. That feels okay. What we have to look at these for, and I would be remiss if I didn't point out that this vehicle right here, as it sits, any of the three, the D110, the 81, which is what, the RS, and then the other one, Range Rover 2, they're all the same price, $389.99. $389 is tough. $389 is tough. But, okay, I got the body on. These are indeed plastic, and they are a very convincing look of aluminum, and they are definitely not designed to be removed and used. No, they are decorative. Some of the bits and bobs feel a little on the soft side. This is something that is not explicitly about value. You can't be like, am I getting my money's worth? Compared to what you'll get from other manufacturers into this heavy, we're not full hard body yet. I think that's a good place to start. Going directly into hard body is something to get used to. Out of the box, I was hoping for around 350, and they went 390. I don't feel like you're getting taken. We're going to take it out and run it, obviously. And don't expect an overwhelming amount of performance out of it. I don't think if you want to build something that is more capable and looks just like this, you're better off starting with something else. And I don't mean like at the far end. At the far end, I want scale accuracy. You're spending boom racing money, and just to get a BRX02 kit, you could buy 2 iterations of this. But to get more performance and have it look like this, you'd probably spend near to around the same money. Value is like taste in art. It is unique to everyone. Someone might find more value in it than another. I automatically, as soon as I pulled the outer box off of this jumped right over the LC80, because the LC80's got a little bit of weirdness in proportion, and I don't think this one does. I think this is pretty good. They went through all the work to do the blackout on the outside on the windows. We've got one peeling up a little bit. But I mean, it's little stuff for me. Okay? Make sure all your decals are pressed down. The decal to paint match on those pillars, solid. Stickers look good. Accessories look good. They went with the very 80s ambery look on the lights. It does this, which is, you know, kind of how it should be. We're going to take it out and we're going to run it around on the course. But as I say, we're definitely not going on a side hill. We're definitely not climbing Mount Tumbledore with it. That is not what this is for. This is for, I want to go and relax and drive in the woods and drive on the trails and have passersby go, man, that thing's cool. And you go, thank you. It is cool, isn't it? And you put a bunch of stuff in the giant roof basket on the top, and it just, you shed away all of your problems. Would I buy one? Well, we're going to go outside, and that's probably going to find the answer to that question. So, I've been driving this around out here for about 10 minutes while setting up the cameras. I've been driving this for about 10 minutes. And it kind of delivers. They definitely did something to the gearing. This is second gear. Here's first gear. First gear is appreciably slow. It is slow enough that it absolutely works. The suspension is absolutely delightful. It bobs and wallows and flops. It has the steering radius of something with leaves on it. I've run into 2 trees. It turns like a ship. But pretty pass-wise, for me, it very nearly makes it. I'm more of a D110 guy, but it does look good. It's got those little tires. It's not gonna scratch the itch of the hard body crowd. I don't think. But for a first foray into trailing, provided that those new stubs are indeed better built than the ones that came on the LC80, then I can absolutely see it. I would still be happier if it was 350 instead of 390. It is a 2-in-1 speed control and receiver. Like, we're not. Be aware just by looking, and also me saying, your ground clearance is terrible. Your approach and departure are not much better. I really don't want to roll it. It looks real good, and I will be the first to admit that it will require far less investment in time and money than will the FMS FJ40, and I still recommend that. I would say that this one should definitely be taken into consideration, but the FJ40 is the class 1 for people that don't like class 1s, because you run a 5-inch tall tire, and because of the scale, you're basically running a class 1. It's actually smaller than a class 1 on that rig because it's so big. This thing right here, I feel like it's growing on me somewhat rapidly. It has, I don't know if it's the good old camel yellow. There's a little bit, there's just a sprinkle and a smidge of, looks kind of like toy grade. Looks kind of like a toy. I don't know, there's something about it. It could be the Lexan with the shiny camel yellow. It's got a little toy grade edge to it. But whatever they did in the gearbox, and the bottom of the skid does look different. So I have to assume, I don't do diligence. I don't do diligence. They changed something in the gearbox to accommodate the straight axle. They changed something that they didn't change in the LC80. That right there, if they change that gearbox, if it is confirmed to be changed, and also that ridiculous 3-bearing stub axle, if that ridiculous 3-bearing stub axle has been beefed up so that they don't, like the other ones, you would go to set your endpoint, it would just snap the axle at the U joint, and then you were done. You're done until you ordered parts. If those two things are fixed, and you can get one of these for a couple bucks off, free shipping, etc. If you're thinking about trailing, this has got to climb up that list. It's got to climb up that list. It is so, we are in a terrible place to exhibit the joy of it just wallow around. Look at you, Super Marshers. I understand. I have officially joined, I was ambivalent before, but I have officially joined the crew of I hate blinkers. I don't like that. It's, oh, look at the turning circle. Oh, the turning is truly ship-like. Truly, truly ship-like. And I think it's probably because they set it up in such a way as to go easy on the drivetrain. And in a trailing mindset configuration, when trailing, that tightness of the turning circle is not, you don't mind doing a 6-point turn to get out of something. Sometimes you have to do that. It is definitely growing on me. Oh, the 32 turn super, whatever they call it, is not a torque machine. And we are in low. For what this is, that soft bounce about smushy suspension is, it's just so good. It's so good. We go a bit wide, coming in hot. Look at that roll. It checks the boxes that the LC80 didn't. The scale looks more correct. They slowed it down. This is high gear. This is acceptable. We genuinely don't need to go any faster than that. Your biggest issue when setting this up, if you are an absolute tinkerer, if you want to change the motor, you can. If you want to change the speed control, then you need to buy a new radio and a speed control, or a fusion. You're probably just going to put a fusion in it. And then you have to figure out how to retain this stuff. Now, I assume the lighting, you're probably going to lose blinkers. Oh, like I'm on board. If you find a way to make this stop, then you're absolutely doing it right. Low is appropriately low. Ugh, the blinkers. So we've got a 2-speed. That's not a problem. And we've got switchable lights. and throttle and steering. So we need 4 channels. That's not a problem. If I'm looking at a vehicle and immediately thinking, how would I get rid of that power plant and replace it with a rate? And I don't have a problem with the FSMG6, which is just sort of a detuned FSMG11. This one obviously doesn't need the 11 channels because they omitted the lockers and all that stuff. And I don't think we're suffering without the lockers. The lockers are not necessary. So this is more like TRX4 Sport. Let's get right about here. I go rep. I mean, it's not terrible. That's a 7-foot circle, which for what we'd be doing with this is probably going to be absolutely fine. I don't know. There's something about it. Did I? Use a little second gear to get off of there. There's something about it that it's that close. It's that close. This is not based on anything empirical. What I'm about to say right here is 100% opinion. And for whatever reason, there is some small box this just isn't checking, and it's intangible. I don't know what it is. It's not that I'm averse to changing stuff on FMS vehicles, because I do it all the time. I own 3 FJ40s, but I don't own anything FCX10. And I honestly do, because when my wife saw them, she was like, ooh, do I want to spend $800 on FCX10 Camel Trophy Range Rovers? I don't know. And for me, that is the problem. I absolutely appreciate the greater approach to scale that they have done here. Recognize that it is all Lexan, so it's not going to be those crisp details that you get from hard body stuff. You're also not going to have the exceptional weight up high and the problems associated with hard body stuff. It looks good, but there's something in the back of my mind that's like, it doesn't look good enough. And maybe that's the FJ40 in me. I genuinely appreciate, look at it, the Wallow, the Class 1 Supermarsher. The included electronics are absolutely passable. This does, and I would like to point out, this is on 3S. When we tested the straight axle LC80, it was on an 1800 kV, which would be right about the same RPM as the motor that's in here now. So the LC80 was a rocket ship, so there has to have been a change in the gearbox of some kind. I don't take them apart because I don't view the FCX10 platform as one that should have time spent updating it and upgrading it. At the most, you might change the wheel and tire. But you know what? I'm looking at this one absolutely holistically. I'm looking at the sum of the parts. Is this worth buying to take out and drive around? As a rock crawler, this is going to be not the worst, but it is going to be poor. I know with the FMS stuff, not to even judge them from a rock crawling perspective. You can kind of get the old platform, the non-FCX10 platform, particularly in the Atlas. You've got to put a bit of work into it, more than you should. Those mosquitoes are out. It's mosquito o'clock. But and I didn't bring my thermosol because it was so nice. You can make it work. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I feel like I've gone a little crazy town as I'm about to say it right now. I would regard the FMS FCX10 Range Rover, and the difference between this one and the other two are body and nothing else. It's just the body. I would regard this as RTR. Comes with an XT60. Get yourself a big, chunky 3S. This will definitely fit full-size packs. You could get like a 3S 6500 in there. Drop one of those bad dogs in there, which would actually push that suspension down a little. Maybe they're intending you to run a big boy. Get yourself an 8000. Take it out. Fire up your Skeletra app and just drive it. As it is. I can turn the lights on and off. I can switch my 2-speed. It against my own preconceived notions of having driven FCX10s before, it kind of checks the boxes. The Blazer looked better than the LC80, and the LC80 came after the Blazer. But these came after both, and these look better. Buy the one that looks nicest to you. I still think 389 is a little high, but at the same time, it is RTR. You need a battery for the rig, and you need 4 AA batteries. We have made no changes. We're not going to ask anything difficult of this vehicle. As I mentioned, approach, terrible. Departure, maybe worse. Look at that. Look at it. Look at her go. Right there. What I'm doing right now, that is about the extent of what I would ask of this. And oh, look at the drag brake. Look at the drag brake. This is not reverse. It is acceptable. Almost holding it. Oh, look at the departure. You got yourself in, you can't get yourself out. I said, oh, look at the, perfectly in the sunbeam. Remember when I said that coming out here was going to decide it for me? Dang it. I think at some point I'm going to have to spend $800 on a pair of FCX10 Range Rovers. I mean, I know my wife would love this. She would the D110. She would 100% go for the D110. Are we gonna have to buy 2 Camel Trophies? I feel it coming in the air this morning. Damn it, FCX10. FMS. I love my FJ40. It is one of my favorite vehicles. And I acknowledge it is not financially responsible to buy nor invest in one. But everyone should have one because it absolutely sparks joy. And I had a thought in my head as this was climbing up that little bit of a rocky surface over there. And in my head, I saw, we're out at one of our trailing locations, and there's 2 of these. There's a D110, and there's like a Land Rover 2. There's the 2 of them side by side, and we're like crawling over a little thing, and I was like, I feel like joy could be sparked there. If the look of this, as you look at it right now, get me in tight. Get me in tight. If the look of it as you look at it does not make you say, ooh, then don't get one. Don't get one. I still think for the average person, the Blazer is probably a safer bet. The Camel Trophy has to appeal to you. The 389 it is what it is. It is what it is. I wouldn't let a 10% price differential stop me. I think this looks very good. And I think that they've fixed most of, if not all, of the problems. It's really kind of delightful. It really is. And it grows on me by the minute. And my wallet doesn't like that. So the decision is absolutely up to you. I don't think there is anything so I will still do not buy the LC80. I also say don't buy the LC80 Pro. because a trail rig with an outrunner in it, oh, I'm getting chewed on. I got one, though. Get in there. There it is. Is he alive? No, he's dead. Okay. So, I'm going to wrap it up with minimal in-depth looks, because the FCX10s are the FCX10s. They are TRX4s that aren't. This one got it the most right. 3 versions, different bodies, all the same underneath. Worthy of a look. They've found me. They've found my location. It has been revealed to all the skeeters. They're sending out the call. I came out here expecting the LC80 with a different body, and they actually changed it. Respect where respect is due. Good job, FMS. You keep getting me. You keep getting me. They're becoming, apparently, my source for all things trailing. Certainly within the next couple months, you're going to see 2 of these here. I've almost resigned myself to it at this point. We'll see a couple FCX10s, and then at that point, we'll begin the definite long-term, more in-depth, like, how well are they going to do when we're putting 2, 3, 4 miles a day on them? We'll see how that does. So, thank you so much for watching. As always, questions, comments, and concerns in the comments section below. Part of me is like, you should go more in depth. And then the other part is like, why? We've done the in-depth. In between now and when we meet again, please, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the canyon. It does look good. I just missed that tree.